Titanic is the most famous ship of all time. No matter where you are from, it's impossible that you haven't at least heard the name of the ship that was due to sail from England to New York City 107 years ago. Find out insane facts about this ship and its peculiar travelers. Number 1. Its movie adaptations have always been iconic. The first adaptation actually came 1 month after the collision with the iceberg. It also had an actress named Dorothy Gibson, who was one of the 700 passengers who survived the tragedy. The movie's name is Saved from the Titanic. Dorothy even wore the same clothes she was wearing during the event. However, art likes to represent life, and the only copy of the film was tragically burnt in a fire. As we previously mentioned, a lot of movies about the Titanic are romanticized. But the most accurate depiction of the event is considered to be a night to remember. During the filming, another survivor called Lawrence tried to jump in and go down with the ship symbolically, but the director refused. Number 2. Its musicians are all considered heroes. One of the more famous Titanic facts is that the musicians continued to play until the entire ship went down. It wasn't because of some misguided love for Titanic. It was done to calm down the passengers and to overpower the incredibly loud sounds of the ship going down and the sobs coming from the people. Music is said to calm hysteria, which could have made the difference between life or death for many passengers. Considering our hands started shaking during horror movies, we can't imagine the bravery of these musicians who calmed down an entire ship worth of people. Here's an interesting fact. The youngest musician, Roger, was 21 and was finally legally declared dead in 2000. Although all of the musicians died that night, Roger had not been declared dead in his home country of France. The French army called him a deserter when he failed to be drafted during World War I. The French Association of the Titanic worked for 88 years to clear his name. Number 3. It could have all been prevented had one man not messed up. The reason the crew of Titanic did not see the iceberg coming is suspected to be because they did not have binoculars. It wasn't a budget cut. The second officer was replaced, and he forgot to put the keys to the cabinet that had the binoculars in them back in the locker. The key was sold in 2010 for $130,000. It is highly likely that the crew did not see the iceberg due to relying on eyesight alone. One of the lookouts actually survived this event, but went on to commit suicide after his wife's death. At his memorial, a prankster left a pair of binoculars with the note, "Sorry for bringing these to you 100 years late." All these blunders do not end after the Titanic had sunk. The British newspapers went on to say no casualties in major headlines, which gave dangerous false hope to the passengers' families. Number 4. It had some interesting passengers. Titanic was the height of luxury in 1915, but it also had an economy section, which of course was awful, with only 2 bathtubs for 700 people. This made some very interesting people boarding the SS Titanic. One of these was the richest man in the world of his time, John Jacob Astor IV. His worth was estimated to be $3.5 billion when adjusted to inflation. He was returning home from a 4-month-long honeymoon with his wife and unfortunately died that night. He was found with $60,000 in his pockets. Another woman on the ship was thought of as the luckiest or unluckiest female in the world. This is due to the fact that she escaped death by an order from her superiors to get into the lifeboats to show women they were safe. And then she went on to work on the Britannic, which is called Titanic II because it too had an accident and sank. That lucky girl escaped this tragedy even, but with a very serious head injury. Another very interesting character is that of Benjamin Guggenheim, who was the classiest guy ever. He was the one who said, "We are dressed in our best and prepared to go down as gentlemen." And it was not just a line. He actually did prepare to go down in a most gentlemanly way. Other than these particulars, there were entire groups of people who sacrificed themselves in hopes of saving the others. The 25 engineers on board did not try to escape, but stayed on the ship to keep the lights and flares turned on. Of course, not everyone was quite so selfless. Some men did dress up as women to get into lifeboats, which were primarily for women and children. One couple got divorced because it was found that the husband had escaped by his method, and then the wife was very angry over the fact. On the bright side, they lived to be old. Number 6. There were many quotes, unquote signs that Titanic would sink. Although the lack of adequate number of lifeboats and the disastrous loss of binoculars were the ones to blame for the maritime tragedy, there had been many events that pointed towards Titanic going down. One of these was a novel called Futility, which told the story of a ship called Titan that got wrecked. And there are some eerie similarities between Titanic and Titan. They were both the same size and were destroyed, cut in half by an iceberg, and both tragedies happened in April. The author was accused of witchcraft, but he detected the accusations by saying it was just because of his extensive knowledge. Another sign was that many people were killed in the making of Titanic as well. The ship, not the movie. Do you think that the sinking of the Titanic was predicted by these events? Comment your answer below and we'll pin the best one. Also, make sure you take part in our contest. Simply comment on any topic you want to learn about, and if you are the winner we pick each Sunday, we will release a video about that very topic in 15 days. Pretty exciting stuff, right? So go ahead, comment, and like this video. Plus, share it with every Titanic enthusiast you know. Don't forget to subscribe also. And we will catch you on the next crazy episode